So here comes Schumann. I outlined his credentials just a second ago. 23 years old. Schumann, by the way, got a bye and then a split decision 4-1 win against Almir Memic of Serbia. MOUSAVI with a unanimous decision against Shatkinbek Turatov of Kyrgyzstan, and then Desmond Amsterdam from Guyana. Southpaw fighter. Went to the Olympic Games at 75 kilos. Went out early, but got a bronze at the Asian Championships in Dubai back at the end of May. And this is his second World Championships, having competed in Yekaterinburg in Russia 2 years ago. That's Schumann. And MOUSAVI. So into the first, Schumann in red, MOUSAVI in blue. Orthodox fighter Schumann, MOUSAVI southpaw. Uses that jab, Schumann, and he's got a long jab too. Seriously long reach on him. Carries that left hand low. Minute gone. Not too much landed yet between these two. Schumann, to say, with that kind of nice loose look about him, looks to try and pop off that jab. It's not a real stiff jab. MOUSAVI kind of compact enough, solid enough, decent fundamentals, nothing particularly eye-catching about him. Nice jab there from Schumann. He's landed the cleaner shots of the two so far. MOUSAVI's tried to muscle his way onto the inside and has maybe just found himself a little bit cramped for room when he's got there. There's that jab from Schumann. Nice right hand on the move there from Schumann, stepping off to his right. Good jab to the body there from Schumann, put a little bit more weight on that one, then looks to try and launch into a lead left hook. Jab to the body again. Looks for the long right to the body. And it's those basic tools that work best for him. And a full set of 10-9s there for Schumann, so good start for him. he can keep using that jab, using that long backhand, that left and right. He doesn't need to be too much more expansive than that, because MOUSAVI has got to try and get closer. He's got to try and get his feet closer, slip underneath that lead left hand like he did there. A lead left hook, he can roll underneath that. That flick jab, much more difficult, much more difficult. Right-hand counter there from Schumann, as MOUSAVI just lunged in with that, attempted 1-2 a bit, slightly slow with it, the balance wasn't quite there, looks to try and get on top of Schumann on the ropes and let his hands go, and that's kind of been a problem for him really. Closing the distance effectively has proved tricky. He's either too far out and can't really reach, but then when he comes in, he often finds himself a little bit too tight and doesn't really have room. Good jab again there from Schumann. It's the final minute of round two. MOUSAVI just trying to barrel his way forward there. Schumann still just working that jab as much as he needs to. MOUSAVI ends up going down to a knee there. Well, the referee told him to adjust that belt line, and he's certainly done that. He's pulled it down a bit too low, I think, there, to be honest with you. Left-hand lead there from MOUSAVI. Schumann just sets his feet and throws that right hand, pops off the 1-2. He's had another good round here, the German. Left from MOUSAVI, but it was taken on the gloves by Schumann there. Final few seconds of his second round. So Schumann took the opening round across the board with the judges. MOUSAVI needs to get something back there. I don't think he will have done. I thought that was a better round actually for Schumann, a more dominant round than the first one. Just started to hold his feet a little bit more and put some more power on that 1-2 towards the end of the round at times. And 20 points to 18 on all 5 of those cards, so that's that substantial lead that we've seen a few times, and we know what that means. It means that if MOUSAVI's going to turn this around, he needs 10-8s. He needs to score 3 10-8s. That would then give 3 scores of 28-28, and then he would need the 3 judges who scored it that way to all cast their vote in the event of a drawn card his way. A point deduction would do the same job for him if Schumann were to be docked a point for whatever reason. So that's the scale of the task there for him. And we've had this kind of equation a number of times as well. You've got a fighter who is a come-forward fighter. There isn't really a plan B. That's what they do. They try and move their head on the way, and if they can, they try and get up close and then get their work done at that mid-range, that close range, and they stick to that method they find themselves in with someone who's got a good jab, who's got some decent feet, a nice bit of ring craft, and they just have to stick to it. They just have to stick to the job and hope that their opponent slows down, that they get inside that jab, that their work rate dips, that they start to get to them. You have to keep that in mind. You have to believe that that will happen. It hasn't happened. It didn't happen in the previous fight with Bishamov and Matoa. And that's just how it goes sometimes. In other fights, you see that it does happen. You see that maybe halfway through round 2 or a little bit earlier or a little bit later, they just start to get to their man. Sometimes by the end of the first round, but you see the tide turn. You see the snap go off that jab. You see those feet just slow down a bit. You see the other fighter just start to swagger a bit more of a spring in their step because they're getting onto the inside and they're doing some damage, and all of a sudden things are different. You can get these great finishes where it's one apiece, and again the fighter's coming forward, the other one's trying to dig in and find a second wind. Anyway, I paint a pretty colourful picture there, but that's that's not what's happening here. Schumann's boxing well. He's boxing really well. He's using those natural advantages, and you don't always see that. It's not always the case that the nice kind of tall, lean fighter who's got those ideal long levers on them, it's not always that they do jab well, that they keep it on the outside, that they make the best use of those natural advantages. But he has done here. Into the final minute of the third round, and Schumann will be up against the aforementioned Bishamov, and it will be a battle of the jabs. So there goes the bell. He raises that right glove there, Schumann, and every reason that he would, because that was a good performance, a disciplined display. And he just didn't really let MOUSAVI into the fight. MOUSAVI gave it everything, absolutely everything. But Schumann controlled the fight with the jab, and he was never tempted to stray from that plan. He stuck with it. Why change a winning formula? But again, sometimes you see a fighter decide that they want to be a bit flashier. They want to put a stamp on it and hold their feet a bit more and forget what has brought them success. Not Schumann. He stuck to the plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Great B brings it close to about 380 with your judges ruling in favor of your winner by points. Declared by unanimous decision, to the red corner, from Germany, it's Schumann.
Couple of cards going the way of MOUSAVI in that final round, and again, I think that's an instance for me of a little bit of unconscious sympathy there for MOUSAVI. He put in a big shift, a big shift, but Schumann controlled that right from the very start. Good display.